Earlier today, George Floyd, who was the man approximately 2 weeks ago that was murdered by a Minneapolis police officer by the name of Derek Chauvin, and who also had in his accompaniment, if you will, three other police officers who did nothing to prevent the death of George Floyd. As a matter of fact, they were charged with complicity to manslaughter and an upgraded charge, second-degree murder of George Floyd. Today he was finally put to rest. It was, for what I saw, a beautiful ceremony. Very eloquent words spoken by Reverend Al Sharpton, a mayor, numerous other dignitaries in honor of Mr. Floyd. But this has been going on for many, many decades. And what I mean by this is the abuse of blacks in America and across the world. This is not just happenstance. This was not coincidental to anything at all. This is not some isolated or remote event that took place with George Floyd. This is everyday, note that I said is, everyday life of a black person, man, woman, and even children in America, especially in America. This is what we undergo all of the time. Mistreatment, we got that down pat because it happens all of the time. Underemployed, we got that down. Abused by the judicial system, we are punished extensively for the same crimes, oftentimes, and even nonviolent crimes that our white counterparts are charged with. And we get more time, substantially more time, than they do. All because of the hue of our skin, the color. This is not brand new, ladies and gentlemen. So why all of a sudden are black people up in arms after George Floyd was murdered by a Minneapolis police? We now say enough is enough. The scripture says that to everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under the heaven. Even though we in America have endured more than any other race of people, if you want to use the term race, ethnicity, if that's better, more palatable for some. We have endured more in terms of harsh, perpetual treatment as a people, not only in America, but across the planet. Black folks, we've been there. The Jewish people went through the Holocaust, and they had descendants of that same era. Black people went through their own Holocaust, called slavery, but it never stopped. As I'm speaking these words to you right now, we continue And the reason I'm saying continue is because nothing's changed substantially yet, even though it's in the making. It's being talked about. They're having meetings. But we have been abused. And that's a good word. Abused. As a group of people in America. Undeserving of it. Not warranted. We've done nothing to deserve being abused. But we have been. And now, those days are over. It doesn't mean that there are not certain factions, certain groups, certain sects that won't continue to look down their nose at us, that won't still scoff at us, that won't still label us and stereotype us as being lazy or slowful and violent, abusive, pedophiles, thieves, murderers of one another. But we all know that that was by design of our slave masters, previous and present. This may be a hard pill to swallow for some. It doesn't matter. I don't really care. It is what it is. So many people have come out of the woodwork and started to speak against the atrocities that have been enacted and carried out against black folks in this country, America. And it took the death of a 46-year-old black man by the name of George Floyd. You see, the fact, I believe, that that police officer, former police officer, who knelt on George's neck for 8 minutes and 40 something seconds, while he knelt on his neck, I believe the people that was watching that video saw a hatred and an arrogance in his eyes as he looked forward while he was being videotaped. And then it went through to the marrow of everyone's bones, their very existence. And they said, it's a wake-up call. This is real. This is not a movie. This former police officer now has just taken the life of a human being on video. That cannot be debated. It cannot be denied. Cannot be refuted. It happened. So now he's in jail, awaiting trial, along with his 3, and I will say, accomplices. And subsequent to that video, those videos at that scene, there have been many videos surfacing of present police abusive behavior towards civilians. And they have even shown video coverage of abusive behavior from police officers of past black folks. So now you have congressmen, senators, just politicians in general. You have police chiefs, you have doctors, you have lawyers, prosecutors and defense attorneys, you have medical people, you have people in the religious or spiritual realm and world, you have people in the general public, people in other countries, all crying out for change. And many are saying Those famous words, even though Eric Garner stated it before he died at the hands of a police officer who had him in a chokehold many years ago, George stated those same words. I can't breathe. This has reigned throughout the entire planet. I can't breathe. Then he cried out for his mother. And today he was buried alongside her. So why did it take so long, ladies and gentlemen, for America and the world to speak out against these crimes against humanity carried out by certain police officers? Not all, certain police officers. Why now? I believe that it was ordained to be so. And I believe that George Floyd was the catalyst to wake up the world as to what has been going on for hundreds of years. You see, when the Almighty God created man, He gave us all this earth. It doesn't belong to any one individual or any group of individuals. No club, no sorority, no fraternity, no country, no province, no island. It belongs to all humanity. This earth, for us to live in as close to harmony as possible and to thrive and to grow as people. It was never intended for a segment of the society to be ostracized and looked at as 3/5 of a human being. And you know who I'm talking about. But what happened on that dreadful day when George Floyd spoke his last words under duress, under stress, under pain, and under fear, and under the knee of a hateful police officer named Derek Chauvin. He changed history. George did, that is, forever. It has been ringing true. It has been ringing loud across the world. Change has got to come. And as sure as I'm sitting here, I see it. No one said that it was going to be easy. You see, people are in power very rarely will relinquish their power. And that includes those that are corrupt. And how does the expression go? Power corrupts. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. So now, where do we go from here? We have celebrities that have chimed in from every industry. Music, sports, theater, what have you. They have even given donations. They have lent their words, their apologies, their condolences from every ethnic group. White, Asian, black, whatever. Everyone seems to be on board. We are protesting all across the planet, other countries as well. Not just simply because of George Floyd, but because there are black people in other countries outside of America. We've all been targeted. We've all been attacked. We've all been mistreated for hundreds of years. Could this possibly be the beginning of our deliverance? I think so. I don't believe that we're going to stop and turn around and go back from whence we come. We're going forward. It should have been this way all along. So I'm telling you, as Sam Cooke said, my favorite song, a change is going to come. And unfortunately, that change began with George Floyd. Even though he died a horrific death, we should all pay a debt of gratitude to that man's life. For the short period of time that he was here on this planet, he left us a great gift. That is a greater gift of hope. So, for all of those celebrities that have seen many, many other black folks murdered by the hand of police officers in time past, do I have to go down the list, or some of the list? To all of you celebrities that are now saying something, where were you then? Why now? There's some that spoke out throughout the whole process of blacks being killed, unarmed, shot down, choked, bludgeoned, and so forth. So why are you speaking out now? I hope that it is genuine. So now, there was Walter Scott, shot in the back, pulled over for a traffic stop, shot in the back by a police officer. There was Sandra Bland in Texas, seeking a job opportunity, pulled over for a traffic violation, forced to get out of her vehicle, ended up being arrested, found dead in her cell the next day, and it is alleged that she hung herself with a garbage bag. But she went to Texas for a job opportunity. 12-year-old Tamir Rice in Cleveland, Ohio, innocently playing in a park with a toy gun. And by the way, Ohio is an open carry state. 911 call. The individual that called, the dispatcher said, seems to be a child. I'm not sure if it's a toy gun or not. One police vehicle with 2 officers pulled up right in front of the young man, Tamir, opened up the door and opened up fire and shot a 12-year-old young black boy dead. 17-year-old Laquan McDonald in Chicago a couple years ago. Whatever was going on with him, I don't know all of the details, but I do know this: videos don't lie. He was walking down the road, and the perspective of looking at the video, to your left you would see the police cars pulling up, coming this way. Laquan McDonald's walking, veering off to the right. Another police officer gets out of the car, pulls his service weapon, and he fires the whole clip, 16 rounds, into that 17-year-old young man, killing him. 16 bullets. He posed no threat. Let's not forget Philando Castile. He was on the passenger side while his girlfriend drove the car. Traffic stop. He told the police officer that he had a concealed carry. Guess what? He ended up being shot to death in that vehicle. And what about Alton Sterling selling his CDs and music outside of a friend's convenience store? He had consent or permission to do so. Someone said that there was a man with a gun at that location. Again, two police officers arrived. Did they have a civil conversation with this man, Alton Sterling? No. They began to harass and then physically assault him, taking him to the ground. And when the one officer found out that he had a gun underneath his shirt, he said gun. It's two of them on top of him now. And so he pulls his service weapon out and shoots and kills Alton Sterling, gang style. Breonna Taylor, EMT worker, in her own home. Police bust into the house, shooting her and her boyfriend, taking her life. She didn't do anything to anyone, just collateral damage. And there are many, 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 many more. And I'm sure it would be a little much for you to bear if I told you some of the other stories. But I think that's enough. And if you can't accept what I'm saying, guess what? You are part of the problem. And if you're part of the problem, you've already decided that you are the enemy of black people. You see, anyone who believes in truth and justice will see it for face value and call it what it is. No matter who it is, and no matter what outfit or uniform they're wearing, even if they're wearing the uniform of a police officer who commits a crime against another human being while in their capacity as a police officer. If you believe in justice, you will call what you see and not cover it up. That was it. And really, that was all. I'm just trying to get you to think. And I want to say this before I leave. I'm proud to be a human being. I'm proud to be here on planet Earth. It's never easy. Sometimes it's very difficult. Not just simply being a human being, but it's very difficult being a black man, not only in America, but in the world. Because we have been treated a lot different than other people. But somehow we have endured at the expense and the loss of many black lives. We're still here. I thank you for taking the time to listen to this rant by myself. I just want to say to all of you, especially to my white brothers and sisters that are out there watching this video now, you see, I'm not prejudiced, never have been. And I think those of you that have watched me over the years, you already know that. This is not even a conversation. You already know that. Many of you are very close to me. But anyway, to all of my white brothers and sisters that are out there, who are out there on the front lines, who are protesting against these atrocities that have been carried out against black people, and especially more recently, in recent weeks, Mr. Floyd, I love you. And I'm so, so grateful, as is George Floyd's family and all of us who just simply want to be treated with fairness. That's it. We don't want a handout. We want to be treated as if we matter. That was really it. Keep doing what you're doing. Our cries, our prayers are reaching high places. And the Almighty has heard, and He continues to hear us. All of those who carry out evil against the weak, against those that are less fortunate, against those that they continue to oppress, they are going to get their just due. And the Almighty is going to make sure that that comes to pass. Thank you again. And may the Almighty bless and keep you and yours wherever you may be. This is Brother Teacher. So long.